Quick disclaimer, information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to be treated as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare team before making changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, or medication.
From weight gain to losing bone and muscle to increased cravings and a higher risk of multiple health conditions, being highly proactive with our nutrition plan and lifestyle during our menopause transition is incredibly important.
Welcome to Type 2 Diabetes Talk, the place where we chat about what really works to treat type 2 diabetes and prediabetes naturally with nutrition and lifestyle. If you're looking to optimize blood sugar and A1C, lose weight, reduce medications, and improve your overall health, this is the place to be. Now, here's your host, Type 2 Diabetes Nutrition Specialist, Dr. Jetta.
Hello, wonderful ladies, and thanks for tuning into today's episode, which comes in honour of Women's Health Week. And I'm excited to talk about today's topic because it's something incredibly important for all of us women, and that is how hormonal changes from perimenopause to postmenopause affect our blood sugar and our health. For those of us navigating perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, and especially when managing type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, these hormonal shifts can bring unexpected challenges. Maybe you've noticed weight gain around the midsection that wasn't there before, or cravings that feel stronger than they used to. Perhaps fatigue or brain fog hits after you've eaten your meals, or sleep disturbances leave you drained and frustrated. Maybe you've experienced bouts of depression, headaches, or migraines that you never suffered from previously. What many women don't realise is that these changes can be traced back to how estrogen, progesterone, and insulin interact. By understanding how these shifts affect us as women, we can take proactive steps to reduce symptoms and support our long-term health. For most women, perimenopause typically starts in the mid-40s and can last several years. Most women know they've entered this early menopausal transition because the menstrual cycle changes and there's often a 7-day difference in cycle length of consecutive cycles. During this time, our hormone levels can take us on a bit of a roller coaster ride. Hormones like estrogen and progesterone can fluctuate unpredictably. One day we might have higher estrogen, and the next day it could drop dramatically. This is what creates that roller coaster effect that many of us feel. When we reach menopause, which for many women happens in our 50s, our bodies stop producing as much estrogen and progesterone, and we stop having periods. When our periods stop for an interval of 60 days or more, then we've entered the late menopausal transition. Early postmenopause occurs when 12 months have passed since the last period. Once we're past menopause, our hormone levels stabilise, but they're at consistently lower levels than before. Through this transition period, it can be a difficult roller coaster. Due to the changes in hormones that are occurring in our bodies, estrogen particularly has a protective and regulatory effect on our metabolism, so when our estrogen levels get lower and our hormones shift, it can have a big impact. In terms of symptoms, 75 to 80% of us have to deal with hot flashes and night sweats, headaches and joint pains, being irritable and emotionally volatile, our concentration can decline, and 20 to 30% of us may experience severe symptoms. On top of that, there are some key changes to our metabolism, particularly blood sugar control. So what exactly happens to our bodies during menopause that makes blood sugar harder to manage? Well, it all comes down to how estrogen influences insulin and carbohydrate metabolism. When estrogen levels drop, a series of changes take place that affect how our body processes and store glucose. First, our pancreas, the organ that produces insulin, starts to slow down. Without estrogen support, the beta cells in the pancreas don't release as much insulin, making it harder for our bodies to regulate blood sugar effectively. Next, our muscles become less responsive to insulin. Normally, our muscles help absorb glucose from the bloodstream, keeping our blood sugar levels stable. But with lower estrogen levels, that process slows down, meaning more glucose lingers in the bloodstream instead of being used for energy. At the same time, our liver starts producing more glucose than we need. This happens because insulin isn't working as efficiently in the liver, so the body keeps making and releasing glucose even when it's not necessary. The liver also starts to store more fat, which can increase triglyceride levels and the production of VLDL cholesterol, a type of cholesterol linked to heart disease. Then we have changes in fat storage. With lower estrogen, insulin struggles to regulate fat metabolism, leading to more fat breakdown, but also larger fat cells that store more energy. And these larger fat cells don't just sit there, they actively release inflammatory chemicals that contribute to insulin resistance, even making it harder for blood sugar levels to balance out. And in addition to that, the type of fat we store changes. Instead of storing subcutaneous fat around our butt or our hips, women often start seeing more belly fat, visceral fat, that increases our risk of several health conditions. That's because visceral fat releases all of those inflammatory chemicals and further increases insulin resistance. On top of this, sarcopenia is common. Sarcopenia is an age-related loss in lean muscle tissue. So by the age of 60, women could have lost as much as 15% of their total muscle mass. And that's a huge amount. And during the menopause transition, this muscle loss is very obvious to many women. This muscle loss accelerates after menopause if we're not actively working to maintain it. And since muscle is one of the main places where glucose is used, less muscle means less glucose being absorbed and more staying in your bloodstream. Less muscle mass further increases insulin resistance, not to mention affecting our strength and stamina. So over time, can you imagine these combined changes? Lower insulin production, reduce glucose uptake, increase glucose production in the liver, increase fat storage, less muscle mass, and more inflammation can lead to the metabolic syndrome, a condition that increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other metabolic issues. And basically, metabolic syndrome produces a cluster of symptoms: high blood sugar, high blood pressure, altered cholesterol, and weight gain. But ladies, that's not all. On top of the changes in metabolism and blood sugar, we also have to contend with an increased rate of bone loss. Women lose an average of 2% bone mass during menopause per year, beginning 1 to 3 years before menopause and lasting 5 to 10 years from that onset. So overall, that results in an average of 10 to 12% decrease in bone mineral density in the spine and hip, and that's a lot, and dramatically increases our risk of osteoporosis. And just to add another level of complexity, during the menopause transition, our sleep quality can become compromised, which can further exacerbate blood sugar and metabolic balance. So wow, that's a lot, isn't it? For many women, it can feel like a bit of a vicious cycle and like the odds are stacked up against us, and in many ways, they are. These things are real. If you've noticed your body, your weight, your moods, or your health changing, you're certainly not going mad. It is true that our metabolism does slow down and can result in weight gain, even when you feel you haven't really changed anything. It is true that cravings may become more intense. It is true that energy levels may fluctuate significantly. It is true that your concentration may be lacking and a complete brain fog that feels like a blanket may be over your head on some days. There are a vast array of symptoms that can arise, and the key thing to know is that if you are in the menopause transition period, then it is likely due to the hormonal changes occurring in your body. Of course, that part of it is out of our control. We can't change the fact that our hormones change. It happens to every woman and we can't escape it. What we do know is that making changes to our nutrition and lifestyle can help delay the development of symptoms, make them more bearable. You may not even get symptoms at all if you're in great metabolic health, but overall we know it can help make everyday life easier. And without a doubt, even though it may take a bit more work on our behalf, we can certainly change things in the opposite direction as well. During this time of our life, we really need to be proactive with taking care of our health. And the reality is we do need to make some changes to our lives to prioritise our health. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about next, is what you can do about it. How you can support your metabolic health, particularly with nutrition, as nutrition is a very important factor throughout the stages of menopause.
Don't spend months or years trying to work out how to treat your diabetes. With Dr. Jetta's VIP online membership, you'll have trusted support wherever you are at your fingertips whenever you need it. Access detailed guides to understand exactly what to eat. Explore the huge members library. Receive delicious weekly meal plans and join monthly member check-ins for personal feedback and accountability. Learn more and join as a VIP member today. Visit type2diabetestalk.com/programs.
Interestingly, a diabetes-friendly nutrition plan is the type of eating plan that will benefit most women during the menopause transitional phase, whether they have diabetes or not. And we also need to prioritise particular nutrients during this time to help support optimal metabolism. First, let's briefly cover things to avoid or eliminate from our nutrition plan, and it really comes down to logic here, with avoiding foods and drinks high in added sugar and refined carbohydrates, the white flour foods that worsen blood sugar and insulin resistance, like cakes, cookies, crackers, pastas, breads, all the packaged and processed foods that line the supermarket shelves, all the junky foods that we know are not the best choices for us. We want to focus on eating lots of fresh foods and avoid processed foods as much as possible. If you're a big coffee drinker, you might want to consider limiting your caffeine intake to no more than 3 or 4 cups a day of caffeinated drinks, because excessive caffeine consumption has been linked with calcium excretion and bone loss. And in postmenopause, we may want to limit this even further to a couple of cups a day just to ensure we're not contributing to further bone loss. Okay, many women don't like hearing this next one, but there is a great benefit if you stop drinking alcohol. During menopause, alcohol can worsen hormonal imbalances and amplify symptoms like hot flashes, sleep disturbances, and mood swings. It also increases insulin resistance, making blood sugar harder to control, and contributes to weight gain, particularly around the stomach area, the belly fat that most women do not appreciate. Plus, alcohol does affect bone health, increasing the risk of osteoporosis by reducing calcium absorption. And since liver function slows with age, alcohol stays in the system longer, intensifying its effects. So for us women, alcohol can really do us a disservice. In contrast, cutting back or eliminating alcohol can help us feel more balanced, improve our sleep quality, and support overall metabolic and hormonal health during this transition. In terms of nutrition, we need to ensure we're eating a high-quality diet filled with a range of nutrient-rich foods. Focus on eating lots of vegetables for their antioxidants like beta-carotene and vitamin K that support bone formation, as well as vitamin C and E and valuable polyphenols which can help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. Vitamin C also supports bone formation due to its role in collagen formation. Magnesium, we need that to improve energy metabolism and cellular function and support muscle function and reduce inflammation. Basically, lots of vitamins and minerals can help support our health during this phase, well, during our whole life really, because they fuel our cells. But eating lots of vegetables can provide us with a wide range of micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals that can help support our metabolism at this time. And they also happen to be the best type of carbohydrate to eat to maintain healthy blood sugar levels. So it's a win-win there in terms of eating more veggies. Vegetables also provide lots of fibre, and so do nuts and seeds. Fibre-rich foods can promote a healthy intestinal flora, our gut bacteria, increasing those good guys, which can increase the level of biologically active estrogen in the body and slow the development of estrogen deficiency and reduce the menopausal symptoms we may experience. So ensure you're getting at least 25 grams a day of dietary fibre. Drink lots of water. Fluid intake is important in the transport of nutrients and oxygen around the body to help support cellular metabolism and the body's natural balance, and to help regulate the body's heat balance, for detoxification, for a healthy gastrointestinal tract, and for healthy skin, which we can notice quite a number of changes as we go through this menopausal stage. So during the menopause transition, you may not feel as thirsty, but you still need to drink lots of water for all the reasons just mentioned. B vitamins also play an important role in menopause. They play a fundamental role in the processing of carbohydrates and the functioning of the nervous system, and in preventing cognitive dysfunction and cognitive decline. And B vitamins are found in a variety of animal and plant-based foods: meat, fish, eggs and dairy, leafy greens, legumes and beans, nuts and seeds, and a variety of different vegetables. These all help maintain optimal B vitamin levels. Consume olive oil every day for its rich polyphenols and anti-inflammatory impacts. We did a whole podcast on the incredible benefits of olive oil in episode 14, so please listen to that for all the insights on why it's necessary to have olive oil daily. To support better sleep, a regular eating schedule plays a key role in maintaining the circadian rhythm. And sleep is most affected by the timing and quality of dinner, so it's recommended to have dinner at least 2 hours before bedtime. A low carbohydrate dinner is the best type, and drinking a lot before bedtime isn't recommended. We can also focus on supporting melatonin production with nutrition. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates sleep-wake cycles, and during menopause, melatonin levels may decline, contributing to our sleep disturbances, difficulty falling asleep, and nighttime awakenings. So melatonin-rich food sources include eggs, fish, nuts, tart cherries, and strawberries. And we can also focus on vitamins and trace elements that participate as cofactors in this melatonin synthesis. So things like folic acid, vitamins B6 and B12, magnesium, and zinc. Another thing to focus on is getting adequate amounts of tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor of melatonin and has a positive effect on sleep. So we're looking at foods like cheddar cheese and pumpkin seeds. These have very high amount of tryptophan. And other foods rich in tryptophan are tuna and salmon, lamb, chicken breasts, pork, tofu, eggs, sunflower seeds, almonds, and peanuts. What we see here throughout all of this information is we need a nutrient-rich diet to support our bodies on every single level during the menopausal transition. And quite literally, the foods we eat provide fuel for all our cells to function optimally and support hormonal balance as well. So before we discuss key nutrients we need to be particularly aware of, let's hear a testimonial from one of our members.
Gloria said, 3 months ago, my A1C was 8.7, and my recent blood work showed it at 7.4. My endocrinologist was very impressed and thinks I will be at the target level by my next testing in 3 months. The recipes are easy, quick, and good. Thank you for your dedication to diabetes research and food plans.
In terms of our nutrition, there are some key nutrients we need to be particularly aware of. We absolutely need to prioritise protein to help support the body to perform its functions and to sustain muscle mass. Protein is essential for hormone construction and balance, and also essential for bone formation and maintenance. It provides amino acids necessary for collagen synthesis that help build our bone matrix. We want to consume protein from a variety of sources, such as meats, poultry, fish, eggs, beans, legumes, nuts, seeds, and dairy products. And prioritising protein at breakfast is also key, and we covered that in episode 69. Now, two particular micronutrients we need to be aware of are calcium and vitamin D. It's very important to have your vitamin D status checked because low levels of vitamin D make women more susceptible to osteoporosis. And getting vitamin D, well, that's going to come from a large part from sun exposure. That is the best option for vitamin D if you can. But if not, then supplementation is often necessary. Because in terms of foods, there's not many that have vitamin D, but you can include egg yolks, dairy products, offal, and foods enriched with vitamin D, which can all help to improve your levels. Then there's calcium. We also need to focus on getting our calcium intake daily, and the recommended amount is 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of calcium each day. And it is best to achieve your calcium requirements through nutrition rather than supplements, as calcium supplementation has been shown to increase cardiovascular risk. Dairy products contain the most easily absorbable calcium, Parmesan cheese being a very high calcium source. For example, just eating 1 ounce or 28 grams of Parmesan cheese per day contributes around 330 milligrams of calcium toward your daily calcium goal. Regular consumption of soft-boned fish eaten with bones, such as canned sardines, pickled herring, anchovy, and canned salmon, soya products like tofu and edamame, green leafy vegetables like spinach and bok choy, and tahini, sesame paste. These are also good sources of calcium. And almonds and chia seeds are good sources as well. So we do have to put a little more thought into making sure we include lots of calcium-rich foods in our everyday eating plan. We also need adequate vitamin D to help with calcium absorption, and protein and dietary fibre also help with calcium absorption. So, while we surely haven't covered everything there is to know, we didn't cover exercise, sleep, and stress in detail, as these are also areas we can focus on. We also didn't cover natural therapeutics that can really help. But in terms of nutrition, there are a lot of things you can focus on here that are all going to help you regulate your blood sugar more effectively and to support better health during the menopause transition. The most important thing, being proactive. Making intentional choices with our food and self-care can help us feel stronger, more balanced, and prevent a lot of these things. Prevent the weight gain, prevent as much bone loss, and just make us much more healthier and more in control during this transitional period. So I hope you found this episode helpful, and if you did, I'd love for you to share it with another woman who could benefit. And if you're one of our members, please visit the library to find lots of additional resources for you alongside this podcast, additional food lists that you can refer to, natural therapeutics, a list of those and their effects during menopause, and a whole range of other great resources you can tap into to help you through this menopausal transition. Until next time, take care of yourself. Dr. Jeddah, over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to Type 2 Diabetes Talk. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And for episode replays, episode notes, and more, visit type2diabetestalk.com. New episodes are available Tuesdays, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, or your time zone equivalent. Thanks again. We're truly grateful to be a part of your life and help make a real difference.